Welcome to Funeral Potatoes and Wool Mittens, a show for people who embrace the warm and cozy spirit of everyday living in the Midwest. From the blog Random Sweets, I'm your host, Staci Mergenthal. If you like meat or stories about family businesses that connect producers directly to their customers, you're going to love this episode with Bruce and Jody Drager, Allie and Michael Drager, and Mackenzie Drager. They're half of the Minnesota family of farmers and food enthusiasts behind the Meatery MN. While sharing meals together on vacation, the Drager family dreamed up an e-commerce business that connects the producers of premium USDA certified meat directly with consumers who appreciate fine food and knowing where it came from. Founded in 2022, the Meatery MN has been creating a community of Meathusiasts across the U.S. by creating an online platform for consumers to purchase high-quality beef, poultry, and pork, and then have it shipped to them directly from the farm families who raised the animals. And because they know that you're going to love it, as a gift from the Meatery this holiday season, they're giving you a discount code which will be active until December 31st, 2024. And you can share it with friends and family too, so listen for that at the end of the episode or get the code in the show notes in your podcast app. You can use that code to purchase meats like Waygu ribeye, dry aged burger, there's smoked rib steak, beef sticks, chicken breast, smoked ham, tomahawk chops, pork shoulder roast, raspberry chipotle bacon, and charcuterie boxes, just to name a few. To learn more, browse their website while you're listening here. It's themeaterymn.com. Again, themeaterymn.com. And they also shared some photos and recipe for garlic butter instant pot short ribs and a recipe for smash burgers, which I've posted for you on randomsweets.com. So be sure to follow Funeral Potatoes and Wool Mittens in your podcast app. And if you like what you hear, please leave a review. Bruce, Jody, Michael, Allie, and Mackenzie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I had the pleasure of eating some of your meats at my in-laws, Lindsay and Jesse Botker. They had a party, and I think it was the raspberry chipotle bacon. And then did you make some sort of a pork?
Well, we had a couple things. So the bacon was our half-inch flavored bacon, and we had it like a sauce over the top. And then we did do the shoulder roast.
Okay.
Two separate things.
But so delicious. I mean, people were talking about it, going back for seconds, thirds. I don't know. We probably stopped counting, but it was a hit. And so I had started talking to you, Jody, and just saying it would be fun to have you on the podcast because I already knew that you were but you are a local around that Mankato area where you started this family business. And even if somebody's listening and they're vegan or vegetarian, this is still just a really good story about how you're connecting consumers with products directly from those producers. And of course, these products make wonderful gifts too. So, if you listen until the end of this episode, you guys are going to share a discount code. So that will be fun too. But I'm just going to have you guys introduce yourselves and let us know kind of your role in the family and in the business too.
We'll start with the oldest, who's Bruce.
Oh, so yeah, I'm the oldest. Thank you. And so basically, we started this business a few years ago, my brother's family and my family, and just to kind of think about something to do together that we could kind of explore and grow a business that kind of connects farmers to consumers. And so my role in this is kind of pretty limited. I just retired, and let's just say that I've worked in ag my whole life, agriculture, and I think I have a pretty good working knowledge. And so when we think about the consumer and kind of where things normally flow, from a business standpoint, I've had a lot of experience working with corporate America and then understanding what local businesses can do to kind of connect with those consumers.
And I'm Jody. I'm Bruce's wife. I worked in corporate America for 26 years, And I quit my job 2 years ago, and it'll be 2 years in January to work full time for the Meatery. It's so fun selling meat versus software.
Since we're going oldest to youngest, I am Mackenzie. I'm the daughter of Bruce and Jody. And as far as my role at the Meatery, I work full time for a marketing firm in Minneapolis that focuses on food and agriculture. So I like to think I bring a little bit of that knowledge to this team, but help out where I can. We kind of joke that this is our B job for most of us. So I've got an A job and this is my B job.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Michael, Bruce and Jody's son, obviously. I am a corporate pilot by day, and then I help out with the Meatery as much as I can mostly at night, because like Mackenzie said, everybody pretty much that's involved has the 9 to 5. So this is kind of our passion project on the side. So.
And I'm Allie. I'm Michael's wife, and my entire career has been in cybersecurity and software technology sales, but really focused on the sales and marketing side of the business. So it's been really fun to take some of the things that I get to do in my A job, from planning events, networking, connecting people to the Meatery and bringing those new ideas and new connections, and also being able to connect people. I've had the pleasure in my job in corporate America working with people all across the 50 states. So that's been really cool to share the Meatery outside of what we're doing with cybersecurity.
I'm missing a part of who's a farmer. Did any of you have a farm?
Yeah, that's a great question. We all have roots back to the farm.
Yeah.
So yeah, my brothers and I grew up on the farm, and I still own part of the farm operation. And certainly when our kids were growing up, they were spending a lot of time with me, going back and forth to the farm as well. So a lot of it goes back to those experiences, spending time on the farm and understanding what producers go through, and then kind of converting that to what we can talk to consumers about.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the Meatery. Tell us what it is, what the concept is, how you guys came up with it and formed this business.
So we work with our family members, as we said earlier. And so we've always kind of known we wanted to do something business-wise, not really sure what that was. But when COVID hit and there was a meat shortage on the grocery store shelves, being the producers we knew that there really wasn't a meat shortage, and there was more of an issue with the supply chain. So this whole idea of the Meatery really started with how can we cut out the middleman and get really, really great food right to the consumers. So growing up on that farm family, we were always blessed with really good food, right? We could go straight to the butcher, get whatever we needed. And so it was bringing that concept to those who don't have their own farms.
What year did you start?
I would say we started it in 2021, but I think the site went live in 2022.
Yeah, and we really dreamed it up though on a family vacation in 2020. And so
where were you guys at?
Or was it 2020, 2021? But we were actually in Oregon in a cabin on the river. We have family out there. We all went out, and I think that's when it really dawned on us of all the cool talents we have across the family. And every single time we're together on vacation, we don't go out to eat. We don't just grill hot dogs. It's always very extravagant meals, or we're really putting a lot of time and thought into eating really good food. And that was part of it too, of how can we share this good food we've grown up with and grown to love with the world.
Share then what the concept is. So what are you guys doing? Because you're not farming and having these meats and things butchered that are coming from your farm. So share with people what actually is happening here.
Hens.
Yeah. So
somebody tell me where the meat is coming from.
Yeah. So the concept is that we are basically the marketing arm for a lot of these very small producers. So think kind of your mom and pop shop. They're really good at what they do, but they don't necessarily have the resources to project that into a bigger audience. And so we at the Meatery provide the platform, the e-commerce platform that sells their meats. So we work with them. We come up with collections is what we call them. So these are boxes with multi different cuts and maybe flavors all in a box that gets shipped directly to your door. We have about 12 current producers that are live on our site across Minnesota that you can purchase from at any given time from the meatery.
So when you're talking about curating boxes, are those all from the same producer?
So right now, each box is from a single producer. There are some USDA guidelines on crossing those over. And really, what's cool about the meatery is whatever you're ordering is coming directly from that producer that produced it. So they raised the animal, they fed the animal, and then they're packing it up and shipping it directly to your door.
Where they're having them butchered, is the meat being then packaged there?
Yep, all the meat, yeah, all the butchers and stuff are USDA certified, so it's all butchered at the butcher shop and packaged there. And actually, a lot of the producers then I'll take them back to their farm and ship directly off the farm to the consumer's door.
Okay.
Yeah, so the meatery also, we not only provide that e-commerce platform, so we're putting all of their stuff online for purchase, but we also set them up with the logistical side of things. So we get them the boxes, we get them the eco-friendly liners, and then also gel packs. So we get them all of the stuff they need to ship their product and then also set up the UPS shipment. So we have all of that on our end. They get their orders once a week and they package them up and ship them directly to consumer.
Okay, so they're coming frozen. And you ship nationwide, not just
Yeah.
in the Midwest, right?
I was just going to share that to all, nationwide.
And we have hit all 48 states, so we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Okay.
And shipping is included to Minnesota, the Dakotas, Iowa, and Wisconsin. So if you're in Minnesota or the surrounding states, it is included.
Yep, shipping is free.
If you're ordering within that state or if you're shipping to that state?
Shipping to that state.
Shipping, yeah.
All right. So when people receive the packages, are these producers sending like a little note or a card or something that says something? Does it share the story about their farm?
Yes. Yes. We have a little card that explains a little bit about the meatery, but then each of the producers puts their own little flair on it, a picture of their family, a thank you, a handwritten note. So it's very personal from where it's coming from to your doorstep, which is really cool. And you can kind of click in and see more about who they are and how they're going about raising their products too.
Yeah, all of the information is also on our website, which I think is super cool. So if you're, like you mentioned earlier, you can shop by producer, you can shop by protein, or you can just shop by all and check out all of the boxes. But if you shop by producer, you'll read a little bit about each of those producers and their family. There's a lot of family pictures on there, which is cool. And then they do go into a little bit of detail about how they raise their animals, what makes them different from a different producer you might want to purchase from. So really, it's really transparent. I think in this day and age, people love to see where their food's coming from. And so that's kind of exactly what we're trying to give to the purchaser.
Mm-hmm. You know what I love about that too? I just thought of this, and I don't have little children at home anymore. Our kids are in their early 20s, but if we had little kids, what I like about that is that you can share all of this and learn, so that your kids are learning about it too. So if you're already, your website is themeaterymn.com, right? So
Yeah.
if people are already looking on there and they're looking at the meats, and you'll notice that there's a $15 off if you subscribe. So you put in your email. That way you guys are sending out, do you have a newsletter that kind of comes out, or?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then people will get $15 off of their first order if they've shared their email. So if you're looking on there and see that. And then you guys have gift boxes, and I read a couple testimonials on there. People had some different ideas they did for corporate gifts.
Yeah, I'm Jody, and that's my main focus with the meatery is working on business development. So if you have a company and you want to send a gift, we can do about anything. I mean, you can go to our site and see the boxes, but if you don't see a box that fits your needs, you just reach out to me and we'll create whatever fits what you want. We've done a lot of gifting. One of probably our top seller one was where we had a a gentleman wanted to show appreciation, so he bought a Yeti cooler, and we stuffed the Yeti cooler with all of the top meats within our 12 partners, and we shipped it to them. So endless opportunities with, holiday gifting.
Mm-hmm. And that made me think too, for all of us who go to fundraising galas and that type of thing, or we're part of the organization. So we're always asked to donate something to the auction. How cool would those things be for an auction item?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that we have started at the Meatery is we are doing fundraisers. So we will create a special page for your fundraiser event, and you can pick and choose the boxes you want. And then we do a percent back to that fundraiser. But what's really nice about our fundraiser is we will take care of the shipping. So as a parent, the fundraiser ends, you got to go pick everything up. That's not how it works at the Meatery. We will take the order. If it falls on, like a Friday, order will get shipped out on Monday, and eliminates all that involvement with the parent.
Are there gift cards that you can get?
Yes, we have e-gift cards and a physical gift card.
And I can vouch that we recently did a fundraiser that we had a box of our steaks, our Waygu steaks on, and it was the biggest hit of the silent auction. Of everyone was wondering who had won it at the end of the night. So,
right, because they want an invite to come over during grilling
right?
season.
Yeah, they said, "Whose house are we going to after this?"
You guys are working as a family. You seem like you get along really well. You take vacations together, which that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Have you had any lessons learned working as a family business? That you can share publicly?
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's specifically family, but I think anytime you start a business, you need to learn how to pivot. The Meatery MN has been brainstormed in many, many different ways, from opening our own butcher shop to just being like blog content type things, and then to what it is today. So I think you just have to be nimble and be willing to pivot when things change direction.
Yeah, and to that point too, I think it's been, when we started, we all had huge ideas, and we could sit around the table all night brainstorming what we're going to do next, but really figuring out whose strengths are where and how to leverage them. And so we've really broken out into the guys that are more numbers driven, process oriented, us gals that are really good with the sales and marketing arm, and you name it. And so that's been really cool to see everyone, as we talked about in the beginning, our A jobs come to play in the Meatery.
Yeah, and I think the whole e-commerce thing has just been kind of eye-opening for some of us that were involved in traditional businesses where we really didn't get exposed to it that much. So it's been a real learning experience for some of us that grew up in the traditional side of corporate America.
I think it's been a challenge, but it's also been fun. Obviously with the e-commerce site comes a lot of other things like social media and like teaching the moms and dads of our crew, aunts and uncles. We finally got them all on Instagram.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've helped a few people, over at least 60, download and create an Instagram profile. So.
Which you probably never would have done, right, Bruce?
Yeah.
Maybe at some point, but it wasn't a priority.
Now it's a priority.
Before I forget though, there's more family that's involved. Who else in the family is part of the Meatery MN?
My aunt and uncle, Bill and Colette, are also part of the Meatery, and their kids are Sam and Chuck, and then Sam's husband, Brandon.
What's some of the feedback that you hear from customers?
Well, for being a startup and being 2.5 years old, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback saying, you're doing the right thing. And as Mackenzie mentioned earlier, you just have to pivot. Something's not working, you just pivot and go in a different direction.
Yeah, I would say we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, but we also lean on our friends and family for that maybe more of the critical feedback, because obviously this is something new to us as well. I mean, 2 years in, we're still learning every day. And so we really, really encourage any type of feedback. We've had friends tell us like, hey, this didn't work on the website, or this could be easier. And all that kind of stuff is definitely welcomed.
And I think the feedback from partners has been really, really positive, where they're looking for somebody to help them, put their product out there where people can see it. And they know they don't have the time or the resources to do it themselves. So, we've been a really good, role for them to help them kind of promote their business and get it to people that are interested in what they're doing.
Well, let's switch gears to talk about that with the producers and the farmers. I'm sure they're very thankful for what you guys have come up with for this concept and how you can all work together. Share a little bit about some of the farmers or the producers that you work with, because we talked about that it'd be fun to have some of them join me on an episode of their own to talk about their farms and what they're doing. So do you have a couple that you want to share, or the butchers?
All our partners would love to participate in this podcast and share their story. We have so many good stories.
Did I just ask you to pick a favorite child, essentially?
I'm not picking a favorite child, no.
I think to Jody's point, they all bring such a different like story and background and type of process and product to the table. And I don't think there's one on there that you wouldn't be thrilled to try and bring home to your family. And in every single one that I've had the chance to try or share with people in my life, I get incredible reviews like, oh my goodness, that was the best meat I've ever had. Those beef sticks, that steak, that charcuterie box, that bacon. So they all have just like a unique thing that they're bringing to the table. And so to answer your question, they're all wonderful. I don't know.
But we could talk about the different products then that you have instead, if you want to talk about the meats.
Yeah, and if someone's reviewing our partners and they have any question, there's a contact at the Meatery, and we are very responsive. So don't hesitate to ask a question, and we'll be happy to get back to you.
I'm going to say that we have on the site right now, we have pork, beef, and chicken. And our producers really range. So from our beef producers, you can get anything from American Waygu to grass-fed to dry aged and kind of everything in between. And we have some really cool pork producers as well, our family being one of them, which is kind of fun. But we also have a family that call themselves beer-fed hogs. So if you see that on the site, that's a really interesting story. We have pasture-raised Mangolista, and again, just kind of everything in between. And that's our goal, is to have all of our producers showcase what they do and why it's different from the others.
And just like we were talking about the story of every producer, like Mackenzie said, all the different varieties of meat that they offer. If you go onto the website and look them up, not one of them does the same things. Everyone has a little spin on it. Like she said, there's beer-fed hogs on our website. The partner of ours takes dried distiller grains that are spent grains from a brewery and then brings those to the farm and feeds them to the pig. So that you can definitely taste a little bit of different flavor in the meat. So we think that's
the coil
cool.
sausage is incredible from them.
And
it's a slower growing pork. So anytime something takes longer to grow, the better it tastes.
more marbled and things. Is that what that does?
Yes.
Okay. I believe if I read correctly, those spent grains are coming from Brow Brothers.
Yes.
And that's in Marshall, which is not very far from me. And fun fact, Dustin, I think, is one of the brothers. And I used to work with his wife back in the 1990s in Marshall at Perkins.
Yeah.
Small world.
Always a connection there.
That's Minnesota.
Yeah. Are you looking for new producers to work with?
I would say, yeah, we're always looking for new opportunities, always willing to see if it's a good fit. Again, everything has to be USDA certified, which gets a little tricky with some of our smaller producers because in the Midwest, there's not a ton of options for USDA butcher shops. But yeah, we're always open. We get a lot of referrals from the current partners that we work with, which is always nice. So yeah.
But I would also say that we've been pretty particular about taking people that have really good product and really good stories. So we have kind of have people where we've said, you know what, this just isn't a good fit for us. So your story is a little different than what we want to promote. And we've kind of been pretty particular in a couple cases.
Well, and because we don't want to compete with our existing 12 partners, we want to make it well-rounded. So we have a unique variety.
Yeah, and I would just say quality obviously is a big deal to us as well. We want to supply good meat, but we also want to supply the best quality. And so, we're constantly taste testing, which is the fun part of our jobs. We get to try everything before it goes live. But we're also looking for things like making sure packaging is done well, because if it's frozen and it shows up and the seal's broken, right? That's not gonna fly. So, I mean, yes, we do work closely with our partners and make sure that it's going to be a good fit.
And I think it just comes down to that slogan where, we tell people you're going to love this. And if that's kind of our goal, is every box that gets delivered, people are really satisfied and really happy with the product.
That should make you feel good as a consumer too, that we're really doing the vetting on your behalf to know what you're getting is going to be quality and it is going to be something you'll enjoy sharing with your family or friends or for yourself when it does show up.
And of course, there's benefits to customers supporting local producers, eating food that's produced around or knowing where that's coming from. I mean, I guess if it's not local, if you're ordering in California to have something from Minnesota, but still in the US. And
I think more than ever, people want to know where their food is coming from and how it's raised. And that's exactly what we're providing here at the Meatery.
And often you can't even tell. You don't even know.
Oh,
if you're at the grocery store. So I like that this, you actually know.
Well, and that's one of the things when we started this, we had a lot of questions, people asking, well, what makes you different than like a butcher box or an Omaha Steaks? And that's really the biggest difference is the transparency and knowing exactly where that steak came from that you had for dinner.
Let's talk about some recipes. So if we're getting a bunch of meat from the Meatery MN, we're going to share a link anyway to some smash burgers and then also to garlic butter instant pot short ribs.
Michael, why don't you first start by talking about like how you sous vide everything and how, because I know that's like a bit like you get your box. What do you do with like an expensive meat?
Yeah, so I like good steaks, I guess. That's what Allie and I cook. I mean, not a lot at home, but mostly that's my specialty, I would say. But a lot of the American Waygu stuff that we have on our website, we'll get a lot of that or order a lot of that to our house. And I love the sous vide. So vacuum sealing the meat in a package while it's already seasoned, and it's just cooking it in water to the exact temperature for a certain amount of time. And then obviously when you sous vide something, it's going to come out of that packaging super tender. So I like to sear it on a cast iron pan and or sear it on the grill just for a few seconds, like a minute each side, just kind of give that meat some of the either grill marks or crusted for the texture. So
how do you know the temperature when you're doing it like that? People like medium rare.
Yep. So you just look up whatever temperature you like your steaks are cooked to. So if you're a medium rare, I usually sous vide it for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours at like 128 degrees, which is fairly rare, more on the rare side, but then it does get a little bit more internal temperature when you finish it either in the cast iron or on the grill. And it's the one thing I like about it most too is you can control it to the exact degree in that water, because the sous vide machine keeps that water bath at like within a degree at all times. So it's cooking that meat thoroughly at the same temperature while the whole time it's in the water. So
yeah, I mean, because the whole point, right, is that all of the moisture, all of the seasoning stays in with that piece of meat. You can do it with chicken, pork, beef, really anything. We have a family member, Brandon, who has done eggs. He's done desserts. You can do anything in the sous vide. The point is fried chicken. The point is to keep that moisture locked in so you don't lose that in the cooking process.
So there's a special pot or piece of equipment to do that?
Yep.
Yeah, and you can spend money on getting the machine for it. Otherwise, like when we first started sous videing, my dad would use just like a fish thermometer on the stove in a pot, with the why. I mean, obviously not very accurate. I wouldn't do that in my
You're not recommending.
we had to work with the tools at hand, you know?
Yes, that is fancier way. I mean, it sounds fancier because the name's sous vide, but it makes it really easy to cook a good steak every time. But it's not a requirement to work with order from the meatery. It's just
Right.
to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely give it a try. I haven't done something like that.
Oh,
For me,
yeah.
it's a texture thing. Like I would love to have it be more tender. So this is very intriguing to me.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Stacy, I'll tell you a little story. I had an intern that was, his first career was a chef, and he was in New York City, and he was a assistant chef there until he couldn't afford it anymore. And he came back to Minnesota and went into ag. And I said, "What's your favorite meal to cook for your girlfriend?" Because he wasn't married at the time. He said, "I love the sous vide steaks." And I had no idea what it even was. And once we tried it, it was like, okay, I get it. But he said you could take even an average cut of meat and make it taste really good. And so you kind of think about, making the most of the cuts you have, and it's a really cool way to do it. And like Michael said, we were kind of primitive to start with, but there's tools out there that are fairly reasonable that make it really easy to do and a lot of fun to do as a family.
The smash burgers, I'm going to look at those. So what makes a smash burger different than just doing a hamburger? What?
Oh my God.
Fun fact, the first time I ever had smash burgers was on that trip in Oregon that we dreamt up the meatery. It was the best burger I've ever had to this day.
Wow.
But I'll let Michael and Bruce kind of talk about the process of what makes them different than a regular burger.
Smash burgers. I don't know. The first thing I think of a smash burger is like if you've ever had In-N-Out or something. It's a patty that's a lot thinner, has a little bit more butter flavor into it. We're pretty big on doing them on a Blackstone griddle, and we cook smash burgers pretty much every time we get together with the other meatery folks, whether we're on vacation or just getting together as a family to meet for the meatery, because a lot of the time we're meeting virtual, but when we're together, like I said, smash burgers are probably one of our staples.
And you put it
So
together.
it's just a balled up piece of burger. You season it. We mix in a little bit of butter. And then when you throw the patties on the grill, we smash them with a burger smasher and get them really thin so they cook thoroughly. It's a more well done patty. Flip them once, and then we usually serve them on brioche buns that we'll toast a little bit on the griddle as well with the burger, and then that's about it.
Add some extra cheese. Sometimes you could do a special like aioli or burger sauce.
Fried onions.
Yeah. Doctor them up however you want, but it does make it so much juicier and flavorful than your average burger patty.
And you usually stack
a
couple on a bun, right? It's not usually just
always
one.
At least 2 patties.
Yeah. I started adding like shaved, grated, frozen butter to my burgers within just the last couple years, and that's been a game changer. How good butter is in with the meat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can never go wrong with butter.
I like you, Mackenzie.
Key ingredient.
All right, Instapot short ribs. That is another one that you're going to share, and the picture looks so amazing. So we're doing those in the Instapot.
Yeah, so that comes from our partner Backstreet Markets, and they are amazing cooks. So that recipe comes from them, and great way to use your short ribs.
Yeah, I wish I would have saw this recipe about a week ago, because I made short ribs in the crock pot and I did not do it right. So this recipe looks a lot more promising for cooking in the Instant Pot. And I do love to cook that way because it is so quick and easy. But
we started a meat company, but we're not perfect. There still are failures when it comes to
cooking. And that's part of us, is that we want to create this community where you can come to and not feel intimidated by cooking a piece of meat and just asking questions. Because that's what's so fun about it is you just, being creative with whatever you're making.
Yeah, Mackenzie coined us the term meathusiast, which I don't know, Mackenzie, if you want to talk about what that means.
Yeah, I think anybody can be a meat enthusiast, right? It's just somebody that is enthusiastic about meat. And we also call ourselves meat snobs because now we have tried everything on the site plus some. And so it's really just being interested, being excited to try new meats, and really just foods in general. But yeah, anybody that's enthusiastic is welcome to the community. We share a lot of ideas, share a lot of recipes, talk about our different partners. And yeah, I'm just trying to create that community. Really, if you're an amateur or you're a pro griller, whatever it is, maybe you're doing meat competitions on the side. We really welcome one and all.
Yes, yes.
Like I said, we're not professionals, and I think someone also once coined that we're amateurs with intent. So that's kind of what we're trying to bring people together, like they said. So.
And there's so many different ways to prepare meat, and you think back that we grew up with a grill and a frying pan, and now you have a cast iron, you have sous vide, you have Instapot, you have air fryers. There's all of these tools that there's somebody out there that knows special recipes or they've had success, and we just hope everybody will kind of contribute and steer people in the right direction, and so everybody's successful in enjoying the meats that we have on our site.
And while supporting local Minnesota farmers and butcher shops, because that's key. We're here to help them. And if it's important for you to know where your meat comes from, like many of us are, it's huge.
What I also like about your recipes is the meat is the star of the show. And it's not adding a lot more ingredients to what you're doing here because you want the meat to shine. So with these short ribs, you're using an Instapot, so it's going to go quick, but all you're using is salt, pepper, some butter and garlic, and then beef stock. I mean, those are some of the simplest pantry staple items that anybody has, and you can have an incredible meat protein meal.
And that's what we try. I mean, that's like our focus too, is these are good quality meats that don't need a lot of extra.
Yeah, and the producers that the short ribs are featured are the ones that do the dry aged. So again, just bringing in that uniqueness. But
why is it that anything, I don't care what if it's a cheesecake and you call it dry aged, I'm going to love it.
that low and slow process.
We have a little bit left here. I don't want to skip over the fact that the holidays are coming up. And if you think about all the beautiful platters of things and meats and charcuterie boards and appetizers that so many things are using meats. What are some of your best entertaining tips or charcuterie tips? Anything about New Year's Eve parties or just some things that you can share with people, because people love to shine as hostesses, or if they're coming as a guest, they want to be that person that everybody's like, who brought that?
So for me,
go ahead. Okay.
I gotta go first so nobody steals mine.
Allie first. Okay, Allie's going first.
Which that is the appetizer, but I've somehow become the charcuterie gal at every holiday.
Queen, yeah.
Charcuterie queen, which I love charcuterie personally because it's always an art project. Because no matter how you put it together, it's always going to look something new and pretty. And there's different ways where you can make little turkeys or pumpkins and you name it, or Christmas trees to fit the occasion. And we have some amazing charcuterie boxes on our website. And I shared this with the Heart Country. They have the whole charcuterie, and it even comes with some cheese and nuts or corn nuts. But when I brought that to Thanksgiving last year, that was the first time the charcuterie board was actually cleared, because it's always the munchies that are left on the table. It was completely gone, which I think is a huge compliment to the products and what we had to share at the table.
And that's a box that's available from one of your producers. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heart Country Meats.
Yep. And then Backstreet, they also have some charcuterie options and beef sticks like that too. So my recommendation is order a charcuterie box from the Meatery and you'll be set for your holiday entertaining. The problem I always, sorry, say the problem is I want to eat more of it than I want to bring to the party while I'm making it.
Got to order 2. 1 to put in your own fridge.
Yeah.
It's also fun to have like a signature cocktail. Something about all of the people that work at the Meatery is we also can our own Bloody Mary mix. And so having a beef stick from one of our producers in your drink can be a fun little treat for everyone, just to add a little flair to that party.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, or bacon.
Or both.
Both.
Both, yeah.
A bloody is really just a means to get your snacks.
Right. I wanted to talk a little bit just about some cooking tips. I mean, if you want to point any out specifically.
Whatever you do, don't put ketchup on your steak.
Oh my God.
And I would say that a lot of the mistakes are overcooking meat. And if, pay attention when you're cooking it and get it off the grill or the cast iron at the right temp. And it makes a big difference.
So I normally try not to interject my own tips when I'm asking you for tips. It's really bad. But I have to say another thing that really has made a difference for me, because I have to confess to you, the Meathusiast family, that I overcook my meats. I have this thing about everything being well done, so it usually turns into chicken jerky.
Yeah, I would say like grilling steaks and all that stuff, the meat thermometer is your best friend, and always trust it.
That is exactly what I was going to say, Michael, is that a couple years ago, I decided to get Jason a digital meat thermometer for Christmas. Little did I know I would be using it probably more. And it changed because I love chicken, but I was overcooking it because I wanted to make sure that it was done. And the difference now with the thermometer, knowing at the 165 to stop, it's so juicy and so much more flavorful. And I know in my mind that it is done.
Right. You're not worried about any. Yeah.
So cooking to
you
temp.
and Jody would be best friends, because I've tried to change her for 30 years. And
More than 30 years.
I've been unsuccessful. So we have a medium rare steak and a well done steak on the same time. So my challenge is doing them both. And it's very frustrating for the chef.
Especially
when you know that Jody won't be disappointed if you leave it on too long.
No, I will actually, you leave it on, I will take it off. You guys start eating, I'll wait.
Yep.
So
yeah, mine
Staci,
always have to go on first.
So you and I will do a cooking event and we'll be on the same page.
We'll do the Meathusiasts for well-doners.
Yes.
Something for everyone.
I did manage to train both of our kids to like medium rare, so I've accomplished part of my goal, but I never could convert Jody over to anything but well done.
Yeah.
Bruce, my kids, they'll eat their steak medium. I mean, they can have it juicy, a little bloody, and I don't know how. I don't know where they got that, because I did not cook steak like that for them. But hamburgers are like hockey pucks.
Hockey pucks.
No. I think that comes from my dad. My dad used to burn everything on the grill, and my mom would get mad at him. So I think he only had 3 girls. And so I think we were all just like, these are great, Dad, because we didn't want him to get in trouble with my mom.
Love it.
We love burnt food.
All grew up with the steaks and the pork chops in a frying pan where there was no such thing as tender meat. It was all overcooked.
Yeah.
So
no digital thermometers then.
No.
There are 5 of you on the call. I want you to do a real quick. What is the one product on your website that you cannot live without? Bruce, go first.
American Waygu burger is the best. We just use it all the time, and it's phenomenal. It's a game changer with grilling burgers or making them on the griddle.
Jody?
I'm going to say the same. I mean, our American Wagyu burger is to die for, and I will not order a hamburger when we go out.
You're supposed to say something different.
No, I'm just saying, I
No.
will not order a hamburger. I don't order a hamburger when we go out because it's not our American Wagyu.
No, it's okay. I know what you're saying, Bruce, but if that's what her one thing is she can't live without, then
It's
there we go.
good, yeah.
2 votes.
And they also, Verlinde Farms makes a dry beef to die for.
Is Verlinde the one in Tracy, Minnesota?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So just down the
And
road
there's
from me.
American Wagyu, yeah.
Okay. Mackenzie, one thing you can't live without. It's so hard, isn't it?
If Michael or Allie have an answer, they can go first.
Okay.
Michael?
Michael will be,
It's for sure the American Wagyu ribeye. This ribeye is my favorite cut. So
Okay.
big steak guy.
We're already planning that for Friday night's dinner.
Mm.
And for me, I already said how much I love the charcuterie boxes, but you cannot go wrong with our bacon. We have the raspberry chipotle or peppered, and star of any breakfast or show, and great gift, but also just something great to cook up on the weekend or to have for breakfast or burgers or sandwiches.
On those smash burgers, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go with the quail sausage from Fertile Acreage. That is the
Oh.
beer fed hog, and we sampled it at the state fair last year. And I mean, I think I could have eaten an entire quail by myself. Just
How do you cook it?
Oh, you just cook it on like a griddle or in a pan. It's super easy.
yep. It kind of looks like a old fashioned ring bologna
Mm-hmm.
is what it looks like, but it's just
Do you slice it and then fry it?
when we sampled it at the fair, I think he just left it coiled and
then sliced it.
Yep, you just cook it,
After it was
cook it as the coil, and then you slice it afterwards. And
Yeah.
I feel like that coil sausage had some of the most amazing flavor I've ever put in my mouth.
and
Yeah.
there was nothing added.
And it's
He
just, and
wasn't
it's all
spicing it.
natural, or it's not all natural, but it's all just their product.
Okay. Do you guys do any smoking?
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
Okay.
We just
We didn't really
smoked
mention it, but
pheasant
I just smoked a dozen pheasants,
yesterday,
so
but we
Did you-
don't have wild game on the site, so.
Not from the meatery though.
Yeah.
Bruce, did you hunt those pheasant?
I did. I just came back from South Dakota and I didn't want to leave them in the freezer too long, so I just said, let's smoke them. And once you smoke them, they'll keep a long time. So I had it on salad today for lunch. It's phenomenal. So smoking is, again, it's a lot of fun, and it's, there's plenty of cool cuts you can smoke, but in this case it
Didn't
was.
you cure it?
Yeah, I cured it and then
Yeah.
smoked it.
You
So.
cured it first.
Bruce
But
is
of
being
course, Jody
humble.
doesn't eat wild game, so I smoked a chicken at the same time.
And they didn't touch each other. I made sure you didn't touch them.
No cross contamination. What were you gonna say,
No.
Allie?
I say Bruce's star of the show is usually the brisket. So
Hmm.
No, Michael's good at brisket. I'm kind of the ribs guy for smoking.
there, yes, you're right.
Michael's like, I'll take that. I'll take
We,
that.
we smoke a lot of like beef roast and pork roast, and Allie and I that's what we eat on a lot at home is pulled pork or like barbacoa beef. We do a lot of that stuff, and it's easy. You can make a bunch at a time, and you can freeze it. So that's
Yeah.
That's
Well,
actually what's for dinner tonight.
we
It's
s-
barbacoa chipotle bowls. You can just mix it up with whatever ingredients.
What cut of meat do you use to do the barbacoa?
that was a chuck roast, beef chuck roast.
Okay. Okay.
But I've done any kind of roast. I mean, it's pretty simple. You just season it up, smoke it, and then whether
So it's
in
more about
pot
it's more
or you
about the
can get-
seasonings.
Oh yeah, seasonings,
Okay.
flavor, and then cook it so you can pull it.
Jody makes a mean pork carnita with
Fertile Acreage.
Fertile Acreage. So
Shoulder roast.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's really good. Same thing, you can make it and then heat it up and use it for a week or so afterwards. So
Mm-hmm.
really, really pretty flexible.
Are those recipes that you guys are talking about, are they on your website, or are these just like, hey, I just whipped this up at home?
Some are, some aren't,
Okay.
but we'll
A lot of
get
it is
them
by
there.
the seat of our pants too, but
They
more recipes will be on there as we go.
Yeah, that's an area we're concentrating on and adding daily.
Okay.
We were with Backstreet Country Markets this weekend, and they were talking about how their kids are always bringing the extravagant meals to lunch, like the brisket or the carnitas or barbacoa. And I'm that gal in the office, whether it's the steak or barbacoa or brisket versus your normal chicken or burger.
So they're not bribing you, Allie, to bring extra for them?
I really should be.
You should be, yeah.
You should just be bringing business cards from the Meatery MN.
Yeah.
You like what I'm eating today? Here you go.
Yeah.
So good.
Here's a QR code.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are so generous with everything, your time. And so let me just ask a few more questions here, and then I'll let you go and you can have your barbacoa or whatever you've got cooking there. What are some of the big wins? So when you think back to that vacation and you talked about, hey, we could start this business, what are some of the big wins for the Meatery MN that has really energized your family and your team?
I would say one of the first thing that came to my mind is this summer we get to supply some of the meat for one of the Mankato Moondogs, which is a wooden bat league for the college baseball players. So a lot of these players will either play in this league during the summer or they'll play in the league on their to try to get exposure to try to make it into the big leagues. And we got to supply some of the burger meat and stuff like that for the entire stadium all summer. It was kind of cool because then I didn't really think it was anything crazy, but then I can't remember what we were. We were at a different event, but someone came up to us. We're like, are you guys the ones that were at the Moondogs? It's just like, oh, that's pretty cool that people can take that and remember that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of cool, the exposure. And I feel like that was a pretty big win for us as a team.
It was because they weren't buying from a local distributor. It came directly from one of our partners, and everybody could, it was a big difference. Everybody could taste the difference, and it was a positive. So we're working on our contract for next year with them as well.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
I think like the first big win for me was when we launched the website. I think the website was a big learning curve for all of us. None of us had started a website before, especially from an e-commerce side. Obviously, there's a lot of bells and whistles that have to work in order to spit out that order. And so kind of launching that site and having our first couple orders, I think was a big win. Yep.
What about you, Jody? What's your big win?
Just selling meat. So my previous world was selling software, and it's so easy to sell meat because who doesn't like meat? I mean, I don't have to like answer a call saying our internet banking is down. I have 20,000 people calling in. All I have to say, oh, your meat wasn't quite frozen. Let me send you some new stuff. I mean, it's easy.
So she's saying a big win for her was quitting her corporate job.
Yes.
Long story short.
But to that point, though, of being a small business, every order is a big win. And it's so fun to see the orders come in. And sometimes where we have no idea where they even came from, which is even cooler. And then when the people order again for a second or third time, like I'd say that's really the biggest win.
Yeah.
Repeat customers. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was super cool. We got to be at the state fair the last 2 years. So that was a big deal when we found out that we were going to be able to really share the good word at Minnesota.
What about your TV career, Allie?
I did. I checked that off. I got to be on the morning show of Twin Cities Live. So I didn't know that was in my bingo card, but said in my next life, I'll be on the news. So that was pretty cool. And the news stations have been awesome to work with too, and have been really supportive of us to really help spread the word since then as well.
Yeah.
We've found out that there's a really cool community of people looking to support local, especially on the food and agriculture side, that we've gotten to network with. There's some really cool Minnesota-based companies that are really trying to connect, whether it's, and maybe you don't like meat, but there are people doing it with produce and all sorts of other goods as well. And so it's been cool to kind of learn that there are a ton of entrepreneurs in the Midwest trying to get quality food to the consumer.
So Meet the Minnesota Makers is a great website to go to. Michelle Sharp, her job or her focus is to connect local Minnesota people to all the businesses that are within Minnesota.
Staci, I would say one of the big wins for me is, I grew up on the farm raising pigs, and to see our own bacon product available, USDA certified, our label, our recipe, it's, for me, it's been pretty satisfying to say, hey, we're making our own product. This is from pigs we raise. And then seeing the quality too, I just really think it's a neat product that, there's a lot of pride in our group that we've done it ourselves.
That's really special. Can you imagine your forefathers? I mean, my grandpa was a farmer, but he's been gone many years, but he would just not understand how you can order his meat from the internet,
my
right?
My dad is 92 and he sent boxes to friends in Wyoming, and he loves the bacon. So it's kind of fun to see even somebody that's, of that generation is still saying this is really cool.
It
So
is.
it's been kind of fun.
I was just gonna say one of our repeat customers is our 92-year-old grandpa. He loves his pulled pork, and he knows it came from his family farm. And so he may not know how to order it online, but he will get whoever's at his house to order him some and get it shipped to his door, which is super fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's next then? You guys are you trying to grow? Are you trying to get, find producers outside the state of Minnesota? I mean, you haven't tapped out, I'm sure. So
I would just say short term, what's next is the holidays, right? Holidays are like our busiest season. Like my mom said, she does all the corporate gifting work. And so we all hands on deck to pack those orders and deliver or ship them. It's a really busy time of the year, but it's also a fun time of the year because we know that it's a cool way to get our name out there and share what we are and what we're doing with more people. But as far as the meatery as a whole, I think what's next is we, strive to be better every day and just continue to, it's the Meatery MN right now, but really, the focus is the Midwest. And so kind of expanding our reach and finding more unique producers and more consumers that are looking for quality food is, just our continual goal.
sure.
And I would say too, Staci, that when you look at Midwest producers of pork and beef, and we have some pretty unique environments to raise animals, and there's a lot of people that have kind of grown up here that left that want that Midwestern beef or pork, and it's been kind of cool that way. But I think the other thing we've really strived for is to get our website to be really user friendly and to get it where it's reliable and really a good place to go. And I think we've made a lot of progress there. And now some of those things you talked about will probably be something that we're looking to in the future, but also looking at product, different products that we can put out there on the website that are unique and that, that consumers would enjoy and want to try for themselves.
Well, and coming up too, we talked about doing some things in the future together. Definitely getting some of your producers on to hear their stories, which I think will be really fun.
Yeah.
And then maybe do some cooking videos or something. Who knows what we'll come up with? We'll try not to burn everything, right, Jody? But we'll try.
We'll make sure we have the people there that won't burn anything, and we'll just do it as a group team effort.
If we burn it, we'll feed it to you and Jody.
Right. Hey, this one was on fire, so they can have it.
Yeah, not.
Okay, and then you guys were going to share discount code for people too if they wanted to order. And they already get a discount if they're doing their email. So Jody, do you want to speak to that or somebody else?
Yeah.
How that's going to work?
So anybody that's new to the Meatery website that subscribes gets a $15 off coupon. If you subscribe and order, you'll get that. What we want to offer for the podcast is another additional $15 or 15% off coupon code called Mittens15 in honor of Staci's funeral potatoes and woolen mittens. So,
yep, our discounts for the month of November are our month-long 50% off all shipping rates. So if you are not in one of the states touching Minnesota, shipping will be 50% off for the other states. We also have a Black Friday gift card deal. If you buy $500 worth of gift cards, you get $100 free. And then the final deal will be Cyber Week deal, which is 10% off all steak boxes. So if you go to our site, those are live now, and you can take full advantage. I think the one that sticks out is that buy $500, get $100 free, because a gift card fits all sizes. So it's a good gift for those people that you don't know what they might want. You can send them a gift card for those hard to buy people on your list.
yeah, and there's both e-gift cards and a physical gift card. So if you want to include a gift card in a card you're sending, we can fit that as well.
All right, but just to mention though, I want to clarify on that Mittens 15. It's not an additional 15% off that first order where you're getting $15 off. It's the next time.
Correct.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
everybody that visits our site already gets that and subscribes gets $15 off. So
Yeah, no, that's great. That would be for their second order when they need more bacon or another roast or.
Maybe they're just doing 2 different shipping locations, so they're placing 2 orders at once.
correct.
Okay. I can tell you shopped here before, Mackenzie.
The holiday season is upon us.
Yes. All right. So your website is themeaterymn.com, right?
Yes.
And then all of your information for your like email, phone number, however you wanted to be contacted. Like you said, Jody, if somebody has a question, all of that information is on your website.
Yep, it's contact at the Meatery, and we are constantly monitoring that. So, send an email, ask a question, we'll get back to you.
And social media, who manages? Is that you, Mackenzie, or Allie?
No, we actually have a third party now that does it. But we all pitch in. We're all, giving our 2 cents or, sharing a story or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Most companies do that these days. I don't know if people realize that, but that's the way it is. So, yeah.
I'm thinking about taking over.
What?
He said he joked about taking over.
Well, he's retired now, so.
Oh, so Bruce is taking over the social
No,
media?
he needs to take
TikTok?
some social media classes before we even, no.
All right. So last question, unless anybody's going to add anything else, but I want to know what you most want people to know about the Meatery MN.
You're going to love it.
Enough said, right?
I'd also just say that we appreciate you making the time, Staci, and your support. And if you ever have questions, we're here to help, and we want to make it easy and fun and exciting for you to try something new.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So what I want to say is that we just appreciate everybody and all our local Minnesota producers, because you know what, they take pride in what they do, and they have some good stuff. Like Allie said, you're going to love it.
I think they should let Bruce take over the Meatery's social media, at least for one day. All right, shop their meats, get recipes, and learn about the producers on themeaterymn.com. Use code Mittens15 at checkout to get an additional 15% off when you order the second time, because remember, you're going to get the $15 off the first time that you order. And that code, Mittens15, it will be active until December 31st, 2024, and share it with your family and friends too. And thank you to the Meatery for that special discount. Now, even if you're listening to this in December or even next year, They most likely have new monthly promotions for you to use if you missed the November ones that Mackenzie shared today. Be sure to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And for the smash burger and short ribs recipes, go to randomsweets.com. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you follow Funeral Potatoes and Wool Mittens because there will be a bunch of new episodes between now and Christmas, and I don't want you to miss a thing. I'm your host, Staci Mergenthal. Sweet wishes!